There is a higher mind behind all this. The proof of the famous atheist scientist Anthony Flew that life in the universe did not appear by chance is deeply thought-provoking. Each of us intuitively realizes that the world around us, with all its subtleties and complexity, could not be the result of a random process. Even the most convinced materialists among scientists sooner or later come to realize that it was necessary without the intervention of some higher power. However, the reality often turns out to be even more surprising than one might expect. Watch this video to the end, and you will learn about Anthony Flew's stunning discovery that shocked the scientific world. When I was 22 years old, I had a very difficult conversation with my parents. It was then that I told them frankly for the first time that I did not believe in God and in the existence of life after death. My main argument was that the presence of an almighty creator contradicts the obvious presence of evil and the imperfection of the world. This story was told by Anthony Flew, a professor whose father was a minister of the church and taught at a theological college. Anthony Flew has long been recognized as one of the leading atheist scientists. For more than 6 decades, he has published scientific papers in which he expounded atheistic views in a reasoned manner, which found support among the scientific community. But 6 years before his death, he abruptly changed his point of view and declared his belief in the existence of God. In his recent works, he explained in detail what led him to such a drastic change of beliefs. When Anthony Flew was a staunch atheist in his school years, his father often received invitations to international meetings devoted to theology. He went on trips with his family, and these trips made a strong impression on Anthony, although not always positive. Anthony Flew recalled how in the 30s of the last century, when he traveled to Bavaria with his parents, he noticed signs on libraries that said that Jewish readers were forbidden to borrow books. He had seen similar inscriptions on other institutions. This became an occasion for him to think about how evil is possible in a world created by the Almighty. In his early scientific writings and during public discussions where 4 people were present, he often raised this issue. Fly's opponents usually explained the existence of evil by saying that God endowed people with free will, and evil arose because a person incorrectly used this gift. However, no matter how the participants in the disputes proved their point of view, in the end, everyone remained with their own opinion. Only one opponent managed to make a big impression on Anthony once. It was Jerry Schroeder. In his speech, Schroeder tried to show that the universe could not have arisen by chance. He drew a comparison with a monkey who, by persistently pressing the keys, could supposedly accidentally print a Shakespearean sonnet. Schroeder turned to the results of one experiment in which a computer was placed in a cage with 6 monkeys. For a month, the monkeys randomly pressed the keys, and as a result, 50 pages of text were printed. However, scientists could not find a single meaningful word. As it turned out, the probability that at least one word consisting of 1 letter and a space will randomly appear is about 1 chance in 27,000, explained Jerry Schroeder. Now let's move away from the monkey example and imagine the universe as a giant computer chip that is capable of performing 1,000,000 operations per second, randomly generating an experiment. Imagine that we have a supercomputer that can make different combinations of letters very quickly, making 1,000,000 attempts per second. But to randomly assemble a poem of 488 letters, like Shakespeare's, he would have to try so many times that this number would not fit. Even if a computer had started doing this from the very beginning of our existence, it still wouldn't have had enough attempts. Therefore, the chance of accidentally collecting a poem is very small, almost impossible, Schroeder explained. It was as if the universe knew about our appearance. Although Jerry Schroeder's words had a significant impact on Anthony Flew, they were the main impetus for the revision of his views. However, new discoveries concerning the structure of the DNA molecule had an even stronger impact. DNA is a strikingly complex sequence of elements that interact with each other with exceptional precision. In order for such a complex system to function to create life, the intervention of a thinking mind is necessary. DNA studies have shown that a lot of different complex conditions are needed for the emergence of life. And all this in itself makes you think that someone who created all this is behind it. I no longer believe that the first living cell could have arisen accidentally from something inanimate and then become such complex creatures like us. When we observe the accuracy and interconnectedness of all DNA components, it becomes clear that a simple combination of circumstances cannot explain such complexity. This only strengthens my belief that life originated by a certain design, and the very idea that she appeared without anyone's help seems to me completely impossible, Anthony Flew argued. According to the scientist, the intervention of the mind can be traced not only in the work of DNA, but also in the entire structure of natural laws. Anthony was convinced that the entire universe was set up in such a way as to facilitate the emergence and maintenance of life. He also emphasized that the slightest changes in physical parameters, such as the speed of light or the mass of an electron, would make it impossible to create the conditions necessary for the existence of habitable planets. This indicates that the laws of the universe were set up for the emergence of life. In his latest book, God is Anthony Flew mentions the names of other scientists who have come to similar conclusions. One of these scientists was biologist Andrew Knoll, a researcher of the early stages of evolution. He noted that despite the variety of hypotheses, science has not yet found an accurate answer to the question of the origin of life on Earth. Anthony Flew believed that the question of how life originated was not the most important one. More significant to him was another question that was asked of him at the end of his life. It sounded like this: if we assume that some mind has created a world fit for life, do you believe that this mind continues to take care of us? I am of the opinion that the mind was the one who created the complete universe as we observe it. He gave rise to a world that was supposed to develop in a certain direction. However, this does not mean that the Creator is obliged to continue to take care of His creation after its creation. Anthony Flew replied. Write in the comments, what do you think of Anthony Flew's words, and do you believe that a higher mind created us? Dear subscribers and guests of my channel, thank you for watching this video to the end. I really hope it was useful and interesting for you. If you liked it, please put a like under this video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support is very important to me. If you are on my channel for the first time and are interested in the topic of life after death, I recommend you to watch my other videos. Thanks again and see you soon.